Hey guys, this is Dardamos with Dardamos Dominions, and I'm here with Sakane, the Satist player. How are you doing, Sakane?
I'm doing fine. Hello, everybody.
Now, we haven't been able to get our interview in quite yet, and it actually worked out really well because I've heard that this is a big turn.
Well, I don't know what turn exactly you have, but we can open it up and take a look at this. Might be after the big turn. But yeah, let's see. Let's see the surprise.
Oh, that's what. Sorry, my keyboard was in Korean. Maybe it's still in Korean. Okay. There we go. Okay, sorry guys. So yeah, I heard that you're at war with somebody.
Yes. Okay, so I believe you're actually, why don't you not open this turn? Why don't you go back? I mean, you can, but
Okay,
maybe we should have done this.
What turn?
So that being 18, I think we need to go to 16.
Okay. Now I'm assuming you're at war with Airmore from the looks of the flags.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, I think that's. You know what? It'll for the purposes of this discussion. Actually, no. This is perfect. This is the perfect turn, I think.
What is this, dude? I'm not an expert at war, but when they're hitting your capital, that seems like a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so you can open them. I let him take the PD, so there's nothing super serious, right?
Oh, sad. I was really hoping for this one. Okay, so he's got 23 lictors, which is not a huge amount, but it's enough to make your life miserable.
So a bit of background, I guess. So I've taken a very greedy build, which I regret on Satist. Just in my mind, it was like a bigger game, but it's only 9 players, so this is going to be an issue. And then I also did like no expansion testing. I was just like, Elite Warriors are good, I hear. So I just did, which is true. Like I wasn't wrong. Elite Warriors are awesome, but I wasn't super familiar with like, how few of them can I get away with for each type of indie, province. So my expansion was a little rough. It was okay. It was just not very efficient. I ended up with, and I had like, awkward territory and bad provinces. Also, I've got like, Fascia to my south and Relay to my west, right? So I'm surrounded by water nations, which is wonderful. And then, sure enough, Airmore to my east, right? And I actually bumped Airmore during expansion. Now, Airmore, I'm sure you've done interviews, and so you've talked about his bless. He's gone for a different bless than he often goes with. He's got quickness, but he has no blood vengeance. Often this player, Novell, loves to go blood vengeance and, maybe MR or whatever. This time he just went quickness, which is, I think, or certainly versus it's better. Quickness is going to be better versus thugs and super combatants, right? Because you're going to be killier. But I do think it's inferior versus a lot of other things like, priest spam and whatever, right? Because evocations, stuff can kill your sacreds. With blood vengeance, they can't. So we bumped a bit during expansion. Like, he had 2 of the Knights of the Unholy Sepulchre kill 15 elite warriors. Like, I killed them. Like, I killed the 2, right? But
you got both of them.
Yeah, he won the bumps. But, elite warriors, you don't really care if you lose them too. So, but he kind of won the bumps. And then there was like a few turns of whatever peaceful development. We didn't really talk or anything. But he had like the advantage in terms of the territory. And then last turn or 2 turns ago, I just saw his, he had just a big army appeared on my border, right? So I knew he was coming for me. And he also had like a secondary.
You just know what's going to happen next turn.
Well, I mean, there's no reason, there's no more indies and there's a big army with lictors. I know what's going to happen, right? And there was also, and he moved a secondary army heading for my second fort, which is also kind of close to the border. So I knew it was going to happen. Now, I had a plan this game. And my plan, and I guess we can go into the turn because we can show so you can look at the nation and look at a few things. So we don't need to see this. But why don't you go to the capital and I'll show you what I intend to do.
Okay, so you've got troops inside.
So Yeah. So I moved my army. My army was, I don't know, it was somewhere into the northwest or whatever. And when I saw it on the border, I just moved everything back into the capital. it took him 2 turns to get there, right? Now, my build, I have no bless. Well, I have penetration on the bless. My build is it's imprisoned, undead regen, recuperation, and then I have penetration and reinvig. So it's a Tartarian build, right?
Okay.
I am going for
I
recuperation.
forgot about that's yeah, you're right. Okay.
So recuperation will cure the afflictions on the Tartarians if you put a Shroud of the Battle Saint on them.
Oh, that's really cool.
And then I also went undead regen, so they just have extra regen because you won't be able to put good armor on them. They'll just have the Shroud.
We were expecting some weird dormant build, dude. I didn't realize you were actually going to go and imprison with like a tart goal. That's kind of cool.
So it's very greedy, right? But
it's very optimistic. Very optimistic.
But penetration and reinvig, that little bit of Earth Astral, is actually great because the shaman are sacred, right? And it's an astral nation, so I've got penetration on an astral nation. And versus Airmore, like the priests are obviously sacred too, so penetration on that is good, right? Anyway, so that's the build. So I don't have any real bless for my sacred units, and honestly, I think the MA Satis sacreds they're not bad units, but their encumbrance is super high.
That's these guys, right?
Well, these are the small ones, and then there are the big ones.
Okay.
And like their encumbrance is like 7 and 8, and they're cold-blooded. So like they're super vulnerable to any kind of cold, right? Any kind of fatigue play, grip of winter, or just making the province cold. Like they just pass out instantly. I mean, they're good units, they're solid units, but they're very vulnerable to that. And honestly, we have elite warriors. We don't need great units. We have elite warriors. They're great units already. So as you can see, looking at the commanders there, what I've been doing since the beginning of the game is I've been recruiting assassins in the cap. And assassins are totally reasonable. They're 90 gold mages, so they're decent researchers. You get 1 per turn.
Where?
They're cap only. They're to the right there.
Okay.
Those guys. Yeah.
And so what are you having to pick instead? Between the Marsh Masters or Marsh Masters are...
Yeah, so Meme said this is cool because your quote-unquote cap mage, the Marsh Master, is actually recruit anywhere. Like your mage with about 5 paths. He's cheap, recruit anywhere, and recruit in 2 turns.
Okay.
So you can get a ton of these guys out, but it's expensive. They're not sacred and they're 230, but they're fantastic mages. You can get a ton of them out. But we're not rich enough because we got to build forts and stuff.
Yeah.
So... and you have shamans too, which are fantastic mages and a great investment. A lot of good choices. There are no bad choices, right? Astral Nature, 90 gold, sacred, fantastic. But we're going Empoisoners because they're just as good researchers as shaman early on. They're the same gold cost, although their upkeep is a bit more, but early on that doesn't matter. And it gives us a pile of assassins to go to so that when the first enemy attacks us, we make them pay, right? And so I've been recruiting assassins, and then I've been researching Alteration to get to Alteration 4, which gives me Swarm. And of course, assassins with Swarm and then Death magic for like Skeleспam is just very strong. It's the same like Dryads for Pan that can do Swarm. Nature assassins are very, very strong. Unfortunately, the guy who's attacking me is Airmore, who's a bunch of undead who are like resistant to poison, right?
He has 1 leader with this entire army.
Yes, I noticed that, right?
That's
So his guys are immune basically to poison, although the bugs from Swarm do kind of punch you a little bit for like they sting you for like 1 damage. But they're undead, so I can also do Dust to Dust in Thaumaturgy, right? During the assassination.
Okay.
Which is a strong spell too. So my plan was, which I guess I've researched it's just Thaumaturgy 1.
Oh, is there?
Or maybe,
okay, there you go.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So Dust to Dust is range 30. And importantly, it's not an MR check. It's just you take 22 armor negating damage because you're undead, right? But it can miss. It's precision based.
Okay.
So my whole plan was like let him come onto my cap, and then I will assassinate his commander, and break siege. And what that will do, see, you can see I've also like scripted to attack the province behind.
Yeah, this one right
He
here.
only has one commander. Now, what would happen though is if he reinforces that army, the commander from that reinforcing army, it's like a friendly move, right? So it'll happen before my attack.
Yeah.
So he'll have a commander. If he didn't have a commander, all his undead would just vanish.
Yes, which would be
But
hilarious.
But he will have a reinforcing commander. However, that reinforcing commander, for one thing, won't be an archbishop, so it won't bless his units. It'll just be like a commander. Also, it'll completely mess up his formation. All his guys will just be like PD, right? They'll just be in a blob in the middle, attack, right?
Exactly.
So it'll mess up his entire script. I assumed that group was just going to go like, pillage more lands or something like that. And
that's
I assumed,
my guess. Yeah, he's probably going to be. It's still a risk because he does still have an H3 here.
Yeah, it is, right? So, but that's why it was it was certainly a gamble. But yeah, that's the plan. And then I have a prophet, and I was able to recruit a second Holy 3 priest, which I have also in the capital, just a Lizard King, because Citis is cool and can recruit Holy 3 priests anywhere. And yeah, so we've got 4 assassinations going on, and the script is like Swarm and Dust to Dust. I happen to have recruited 2 Marshmasters. I don't really have good tech for them, so they're actually just doing Swarm to get more chaff in there. And
to muck things up, yeah.
They're great mages later, but right now I don't have really good spells for them to cast, so they'll do whatever.
I feel like honestly, your holies are going to be the ones that are doing the majority of the damage.
But well, yes. Also, elite warriors are just very good too, right? And I have a bunch of them. And then I broke off a smaller force. Actually, the other force that I had, it was protecting. There's a fort being built to the southwest there, so it was. I had finished expansion there, and those little lizards that are coming up, the idea for them is to cut off the retreats for the remaining Airmore armies. And my other fort, I also have an assassin in there who's going to attempt the same maneuver. And I recruited at the last minute some city guards there to slow down the siege, because city guards from Citis have a castle defense 1. So they're like extra good at...
That is huge.
So I don't have a lot of them, but I don't know the exact numbers yet, right? But like, actually we can tell, because you can look at the fort, see how much he's done so far.
Oh, that fort, there we go.
Fortification, yeah.
I mean, he's still doing a good amount, but if you knock
I guess
out
that's been 2 turns. But think about it, that's been 2 turns. So it was, even without my guys, I don't think he would have popped it yet. Or if they had been other kinds of units, he wouldn't have popped it. But it was close. If he'd had like 20 more skeletons there, then that castle defense is the difference between being able to storm this turn or not, right?
Yeah, you stopped 30. So yeah, sadly they didn't, but they really could have.
It was close. Yeah, exactly. It was close. So anyways, we're going to assassinate there. I'm not going to breach yet because I want to see like how I'm going to assassinate. See, he has no reinforcing coming from the north. So we're going to cut off access to that army by attacking from the north. And then if I breach his fort, I can decide next turn how I want to deal with it, basically. So anyways, a bit all in, but that's where we are in this game. I should also mention that I hadn't done much Diplo out during expansion. I had met Naba to the southwest, and we agreed to a nap. I don't think I bumped. I forget if I bumped Fascia. I don't think I bumped Fascia. I learned later through Diplo that the reason Fascia didn't expand towards me at all is because he went and killed like Pangea on turn 5 or whatever. Yeah. And I happened to expand south, so that's why I got all that land. But I struggled, like you can see, expanding west and north. And honestly, I thought Abyssia was my neighbor to the north, because why wouldn't I? That's the provinces, right? Like. Yeah. When I expanded north, I saw Abyssia. I was like, okay, I guess I border Abyssia. Nuh-uh. Anyways.
You're right. This is Pan right here. Pan is here.
Yeah. I didn't know that, right? Because this doesn't have scouts.
Abyssia is over here, I think.
Yeah. So anyways, I was able to do some Diplo when I saw Airmore's forces on my border. Early in the game, people were like, hey, are we going to kill Airmore? But then I saw his forces on the border. And it turns out it wasn't hard this game to convince people. So all of his neighbors, Mictlan from the south, Asphodel to the north, and Relay to his east, my west, right, are all up for and want to, and I believe will. I don't have scouts to confirm it. They were all going to attack Airmore, and of course, for them it's good, right? Airmore attacked somebody else. Now they can go, and even if they don't get the cap, they get a bit of free land. So a quick coalition, really sprung up organically, which is how I like to deal with Airmore early on. But for it to work out for me, it's a two-edged sword, right? Because if I beat Airmore thoroughly, but then everybody else gets his stuff, I just did work and got nothing for it, right?
Yeah.
But to be honest, I like that province to the southeast of my cap, the fairly wealthy one that I'm moving into, that he controls. That one. Yeah, he ended up with that during expansion, and that's nice, right? So he if I just beat him back and get most of the land to my east, fair enough, right? I'll try to get his cap, but even if I don't and somebody else gets it, if I can smooth out some of that land, it hasn't died to pop kill yet, it's doable. So yeah, that's where we are on turn whatever this is, must be 18 or 16 or something like that, right? Yeah, expansion went kind of okay. Airmore attacks. I let him get onto my cap, and then we have to see if the assassinations work.
One of the interesting things is that I heard nothing about him attacking you. When I went in my interview with him, he said nothing about an attack on you. Oh, so I have too many.
How many turns ago was that?
A handful, not many. And everybody else had their own plans as well, which is hilarious. And none of them said anything about Airmore. And it's just really interesting going from these interviews and then going from an interview to what happens 4 turns later and how dynamic diplomacy works. I don't think they lied to me. I think they just, things changed. And
I think, yeah.
Okay.
I think, look at you can view the battles, right?
Okay.
I would view the battle instead of doing that first.
Yeah,
just so you see what happens.
I can kind of, I can definitely tell that 2 of these were not very successful.
Yeah, but
okay.
So it's important
so
to watch them. So you want to see it though?
Okay, we'll see.
No, so you can understand what happens, right? So look to the right here.
Okay.
So he has bodyguards, right? So swarm works, and then, but the swarm is just going to buy me some time. Yeah. And then I have to dust to dust, but you see, I'm dust to dusting the bodyguards. Oh, looks like I got him once there, maybe. His hit points are probably...
you did.
Yeah, I got him. So now he's at 3 hit points. He does have Undying 3, though, so as part of his bless.
Okay. So that means you have to hit him twice, is that correct?
In terms of total hit points, yeah. But you see, all my dust to dust now are either missing due to precision or are hitting his skeletons. Okay. And the swarm ran out, right? So, okay, we did some damage, wasn't quite enough. We can go to the next one.
Now, does he regen that? I mean, is this time he's only going to have... Yeah, he's still that.
He's wounded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now one guy showed up, swarm. Dust to dust, I think misses completely. It was aimed at him, but it misses. Dust to dust, where does it land? I can't quite see, but obviously it missed.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till the end here, and then we're gonna go back.
I got his bodyguard.
Unit overview. This dude. Oh, you hit the red ant, dude.
Oh well, there you go. See, just the precision is missing, right? So maybe honestly, I could have done advance and cast spells. That might have decreased the range a bit. I think so. He's getting still punched by the little beetle or whatever. And then as he moves, he just comes and punches me in the face.
1 point of damage. Okay, maybe I'm just seeing something weird. Okay.
So, and then just gets punched. And then the last attempt... Swarm obviously takes all the fatigue, so that's why he kind of passes out.
Yeah.
But this time he has no more bodyguards. And he gets pinned in place by all the ants.
It looks like okay, so he's -2 hit points. So the that's
Undying, yeah.
I think that I saw Yeah, one of your giant scorpions did 6 points
Yeah.
of damage, dude.
Well,
I honestly think these guys are going to town on him.
yeah. So the bugs can hit. They obviously, if the fact that he's poison immune helps, but I'm still able to punch through because he has no gear. If he was like human
Yeah.
commanders with no poison resist, it'd be even better, right?
Even the frog did his 1 point of
Yeah.
damage. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It was 100%. It was 100% the little bugs that killed him.
Yep, it was. But it took 3 of them, right? I did lose 2 mages doing this, right?
100% worth it for one of these H3s.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So
it's definitely not what you'd rather do it the first time, but he
Now,
has
this is the
another
one-
H3 here.
no, that's the guy in the other fort.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is he's got an H3? That means he has 3 of these guys.
Yeah, there's one in that army to the north, one on Satis, and then
you got
one
2
on
casts
the.
off there.
Yeah, they all had 2 nature gems. I don't know if this guy was. I don't know if he was scripted differently. or
Yeah, dude.
whatever.
Like this is 100%. It's all these. It's all these scorpions killing.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
So,
amazing. Okay.
That one worked. So now you can view the battle on Satis. And if you pause right at the beginning, you'll see that his army is just an uncoordinated blob.
Where?
but he
did he reinforce it?
Yeah, because that army to the east of the capital did move up. So I think he has a Mound King. You could do F1C and see it.
Oh, there he is, right there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's a high F1.
And then
that's-
C.
okay.
Yeah. So he
he's
has
got
2 actually.
one sensor.
And 1 Mound King. So
Does he
So-
have enough on that sensor to have? Oh god, finding that sensor is going to be impossible. Maybe there, maybe not. Is that him right there? Yeah. Okay, so he's got undead leadership of 120. He should be okay.
yeah, but they have no like script now, right?
Yeah,
so
I
he
don't-
has no script and no bless. So
Yeah,
if you
he's
look
got
at
no
the
bless.
lictor,
Oh wow.
yeah, look at the lictor. Just see if you can find a lictor in there.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So now his bless has quickness, but the rest of it is like, and there's undying, but there are resists that are not super relevant here. So the quickness is important because 12 attack is okay, but it can actually miss sometimes. And they only have 9 defense. With quickness, they'd be at 11, right? They're gonna there's actually a big percentage difference. And they only have 16 protection. And elite warriors, which we should look at because they're amazing, are like dirt cheap troops with a 20 piercing damage, 13 attack weapon. I guess he has 1 star of experience, but still.
Yeah,
And then
there we
and then
go.
they have a bite also, and they're like 3 per square. So it's like 6 attacks. They're so killy. They're so strong.
But it's not only that, it's also these guys, because these guys usually have 18 defense. You can put them on hold and attack rear. And
Mhm.
instead of hold and attack rear with a pile of, quickness attacks, you now have, decent cavalry with crappy hit points.
Yep, and no undying. So they literally only have 6 hit points.
Yeah, that's wild. I didn't even think about that. So they don't even die twice.
So not okay. And by the way, because of my bless, my imprisoned bless, the highest path is death. So my banish is touch of the underworld. Which
Okay, remind me
does-
to go over that, because we are going to go from here to your pretender. I want to
Okay.
watch this battle, and why don't we take this as a segue from this battle
Yeah.
to the next one? Is there anything else this turn?
No, I mean I think that's the significant
Okay.
event is this battle, right?
I mean, I think we can kind of guess what's going to happen here, which is utterly
Yeah.
amazing. Like, that's
So
what I love about it. It literally turned from, I don't know who's going to win this one, to, I know who's going to win this one.
Yeah. Well, it was all honestly, I think I had a good chance even if he had his Holy 3 there, right? Because his bless doesn't incredibly increase the survivability of his guys. And he has no MR, right? He has no protection against the holy guys going to town, right? So a whole bunch of elite warriors and a bunch of, priests in the background would have,
Oh,
killed his dudes.
that
but
Holy
I-
3, when they just, it looked like artillery.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. So you can look at who killed what. My
Okay,
elite
31.
warriors
Oh, no.
killed almost everything, right?
450
172
gold for an
kills.
entire army.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. 32 lictors, 4 Knights of the Unholy Sepulchre. These guys, you can't even recruit these guys. They're just gone.
Yeah, well, for Emor, everything's gone. Killed an H3 too. Actually, he had 2 Wailing Ladies in there also. Those are also sacreds, I think, right?
Yeah, they're sacred and
They have
what
that
is-
whale thing. It's like an AoE fear.
oh, wow. What is the so it does 999 damage. Is it okay, so it's an MR check. Otherwise it's Soul Slays. Is that right?
I thought it was only a fear. I don't remember. Maybe I'm not sure
It
what
says
that is.
999 damage. It's weird. Did they kill
I'd actually have to
anybody? Well,
double check that. I don't. It's been
yeah,
a very
let's
long
watch.
time.
He killed 2 people, so it had to have done something. That's really interesting.
Yeah, you can fast forward almost to the end and then do an F1 and find a Wailing Lady and see what it did in the log. Like you probably check now, actually.
Okay,
Just
there
do
we
an F1. Let's find a Wailing Lady.
go. If you see it, let me know, dude, because there's a lot of troops here.
Looks at alphabetical, so we should go.
Oh, is it
to the end.
alphabetical?
I mean, is it not QRS, right?
Oh yeah, okay. It's just the commanders threw me off. Okay,
Lizard
well,
King
she was not
hit.
she was not successful. There we go. Yeah, look at that. It's an MR check, otherwise it's a soul slay. And with quickness, they get 2 of them.
Yeah, I guess.
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of them though. But yeah, so that worked out. And
Okay, well, let's move on to your national overview because that's a huge win, and I'm looking forward to. That's the most recent turn, correct?
no, now there's been like 1 or 2 turns maybe after that. I'm trying to, retake land and push into him. So I mean that's the last significant turn. Like now, obviously the battle has shifted significantly in my favor, and I don't think he has a chance because everybody else is also attacking him.
That's kind of what I caught too. Was that there were at least a couple people jumping on board on the kill Aramor while he's down train.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, which chassis did you take?
I went with the just the rainbow at the bottom left, the national rainbow guy.
This guy right here. Right?
Yeah. So there are a few options. This was the one that gave me the best points. So it's like let's see. I went reforming flesh, which you need 1 more in death. Then we put 5 in nature. I went arcane finesse. So we only need 4 astral, 4 in earth.
Oh, 4 in earth. Okay.
For reinvig, and then you'll need an extra 5 in nature for recuperation.
Okay.
And
so
then
recuperation, and then you have reinvig twice, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the bless.
So you didn't go with like 3 blood, or you didn't actually go rainbow on this.
No, because the sacreds don't need it, right? Like if you do if you're doing like a sacred rainbow bless, then for sure you're getting blood surge, you're getting, I don't know, defense, attack, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Here, my priority for this build was to first of all get Earth Astral cross paths. And then, so a lot of people, honestly, on Satis, they just take like a monument Earth Astral mega scales. That's a very popular Satis build, right? And I could have done that. I decided I wanted to be a bit fancier and go for a Tartarian type of build. That costs a lot more points because you need to take, so you need nature 5. Now, Death 6 was a bit extra, so I could have gone, just like a monument and something, but I wanted to fix a few magic diversity issues. So first of all, you don't actually have high death casters on Satis. Like, who's going to cast Tartarians, right? You need like Death 8. And the Marshmasters are going to be like maybe Death 3 or something.
Yeah, I thought the Marshmasters could get up to 4. They can if they're lucky.
If they're very lucky, you'll get up to 4. But 4 is not like... 4 will get you So death, to empower death, obviously you can make the soul staff. To make the hat, you need to be 5.
Okay.
So I need a ring of sorcery somewhere, and I don't have high astral. You have a Coatl, but they're astral 3. And then the astral boosters, you need astral 2, but you need earth astral to make the other astral. So if you have astral 4 on a humanoid commander, the Coatl is nature 3, astral 3, but he only has miscellaneous slots. Like he can't boost it a lot.
Okay.
So to make a ring of sorcery, you need to get astral 6. So if you start at astral 4 on a human type dude who has a head and miscellaneous, you can easily get to astral 6. And then you can do ring of wizardry too later on, but that's besides the point. So now with the ring of sorcery, a death hat, and the death scepter or whatever, that gives you enough death boost to start doing Tartarians from a lich, right? Because a lich, I think summon Tartarian is, I forget if it's 7 or 8, but whatever.
Hold on, I can check that out for you.
It gives you Call Tartarian, that's
7.
It's 7, right? So a lich is a base 4, and then you give it those 3 boosters, and in theory, there are other boosters too in artifacts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that makes it possible. Otherwise, it's not that you can't do it, but it's going to be like hundreds of more gems of investments and boosting and stuff like that. And Earth Astral is just it's really important for forging. Earth is not something we really have access to on this nation, so it's important to get it somehow. It's kind of hard to boost into without anything.
What I really like about talking with you, Zach, is that you always have an eye towards the end game, where a lot of players, especially when I'm talking with Fish, who I usually co-op with, we always look at the early game, where your eyes are almost always on the late game, where an imprisoned isn't turn 36 for you when he comes out. It's more around turn 45 when you actually are utilizing his full kit.
It depends on the imprisoned, actually, but yeah, I think that's a good point. Like, to me, but see, this is where I'm not sure if it's going to pay off in this game. I guess most of the games I play with tend to have 12 players. Some can be even larger. Occasionally, it's a smaller game, like a 9-player game. And so my default is like, okay, a 12-player game is going to go to the late game. And I almost always, though not always, actually I played a EA Statist game where I just got rolled right away from Theranos.
Jeez.
Again, because I didn't do Elite Warriors, I was like, oh, these chariots are cool. I'll expand with chariots. It worked well, and then it turns out they're
and then you met the ethereal troops.
They're not just bad versus ghosts, they're actually a liability because they trample into the ethereal ghosts and get killed even faster. It's so bad.
Well, they've also got high defense, if I remember correct. So they're ethereal and, by the way, have high defense.
No, actually, they're garbage troops. They don't have any stats. But
do they not?
Yeah, they're pretty garbage, but they're still ethereal, and they just whatever. Anyways, that was bad. So I was like, I still want to do Statist, but my point is, I do usually survive. I'm a fairly competent player, and so I do end up in the late game most of the time. So it's like that biases me heavily towards builds that are going to be viable in the late game, unless it's an early game build that is so strong that it will make it so that I have an overwhelming advantage when I get to the mid game, right? Like nothing more's coming late game, but now I have 5 caps, right? And it's like, how are you going to stop me, right?
Yeah.
But this game is only a 9-player game, and I might not have time to deploy tarts, and tarts are pretty finicky too. But it'll be a fun thing. Now my scales were 2 order, 2 productivity.
Okay, yeah, so 2.
It's 2s across the board, but 2 misfortune.
Oh, geez, you and your misfortunes.
I love fortune. Don't get me wrong. But in this case, we had no choice, right?
You like fortune, you just never use it.
Hang on, this is wrong. We're missing something here. Because that's not enough. I have more points than that.
Yeah, mine sometimes is a little bit off, and I'm not exactly sure what goes on. But you went with 5 candles, right?
No, I must have had like 6 or 7 candles. Do you have a weird mod going? Maybe.
Possibly, it's true. That
Let me
that
just-
that might be it, dude.
Let me see if I can recreate mine real quick, just so I can give everybody an accurate, if they want to try this build.
Let me see. I have the Omniscience. I have Worthy Heroes. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything that's... and I can actually turn off the stuff that I have.
6, 5. Okay, I have 6 handles. Oh no, there's another heat, obviously.
Oh, that's okay. That's where it comes from. You
there's
said
heat
2
3,
across
right?
the board. I thought that was a little
Yeah,
weird.
sorry. Well, yeah, that was you put 2. Well, you don't need to choose that for the scales. I think you put extra in Earth and Astral.
Yeah, that's why I'm putting down the. What I do is I put the bless in, and then I read what it tells me to do.
So 4. Yeah, there you go.
Refirming flesh. Oh, perfect. And then recuperation. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Max heat, 2 growth. Yeah, and then imprisoned, and you can get to 6.
Is that right?
There you go. Yeah. So there were I toyed around with different versions. So I think heat is absolutely crucial because you're so vulnerable as Satis to cold and temperature scales. I went order 2, productivity 2. If I'd been a bit more diligent, I might have found, like, you want good scales. Satis also has an income bonus, by the way, to their scales. You
said you went with these elite warriors, which are 9 and 9. So
yeah, so that's why I took a bit of production, but
I think that this would probably be better in the long term, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, possibly, right? So I didn't test it super thoroughly. Also, the thing is 2/2, like, thrones can boost your scales, right? So if you have 3, and you get the Throne of Order or whatever, right? That's like a bummer. And I just had to take the misfortune to pay for the bless idea with the tarts. Otherwise, that would certainly be fortune. Actually, I would boost the candles a lot more too. Because Satis is actually a nation where you want to pump out your dominion because it diseases everybody else. And also just gives you more income. Like, there's a passive, like,
it's right up here within provinces.
Income. Yeah. So you get per level of dominion. So, like, eventually you'll get it when you build more temples, but it's nice to have it really high. And other things I could have gotten would be like just more cross paths for magic diversity. So one thing you could do with this is just get rid of the death regeneration, right? And pick another chassis, because that chassis is good because he has 2 death built in. But you just pick any other rainbow chassis. Keep the 4 earth, 4 astral, 5 nature. And then, like, just dump, like, here, let's pick another chassis.
Okay, so what were you saying? You get rid of recuperation?
No. We're going to keep that, but we don't need the undead regen, right? That's a little greedy.
Okay.
So let's
this to
that.
me right here screams, oh, you don't have the mono. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. No, but you can take, I think the Sphinx there is just earth astral. You can add nature to that. That's not too expensive.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Right? Yeah, actually, let's take a look at that, right? If you went Earth Astral and 5 Nature, right?
Yeah, and you got the same scales and you have
200 we could pump those scales. Let's get to 9 or something, right? Let's pump those scales.
Yeah. You get to 10, and you still have...
I would go a lot less.
You can still get another scale.
Add some... no, but see, for this guy, so hang on, so you got to be careful. No, but look at the slots on the Pretender chassis. Okay, he only has 1 miscellaneous slot. Okay. So to forge a ring of sorcery, you need to have native 5 astral. No, we don't need earth. We need astral.
I mean, like,
right?
Oh, if we sure,
right,
but you can get mountain survival.
We need at least astral 5, but
that's not bad at all.
Yeah, but I wouldn't take 10. See, now what I would do is I would go maybe, because 32 is very awkward, right? Lose another 100, Earth is not doing anything for us.
I mean,
how about another astral?
Pick another random path just for.
No, it's going to cost. Giggles. It's going to cost a whole scale. Pick another astral.
Oh, that's right. It is for. So another astral.
How much is another astral?
Costs another 40.
Another scale, right? Maybe worth it, because then you could do Rings of Wizardry, which you couldn't before. But Yeah.
I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, see, that's not bad.
And
But
yeah, I would take
kinda,
that. Why not get that Earth 5s to just see if you can get an extra like global that you can put up?
well, yeah, given this setup, yeah, I would. But the truth is, like, I'm not super crazy about this. It's an option, but think about it. Recuperation, like, this is still aiming for kind of tarts. But
Yeah,
how am I going
kinda
to
what I'm
cast the
seeing.
tarts? I don't. How am I going to get like liches? I have to get. It's in order to get liches. It's got to be a death 3, skull staff, ring of sorcery, forge a hat. Right? Like, it's an involved process. It's possible. It's just going to take a while to get there. I think what I would prefer is
Yes.
probably just pick a rainbow, just another rainbow. Pick like a maybe. Let's just pick the nature rainbow, just as a base. Off the top of my head, he'll be the cheapest because we're going nature 5 for our tarts again. Remember,
Okay.
nature 5, astral 4, earth 4. Now let's go up to like 7 dominion
But
before
the
we do
thing is, you
anything
have
else.
to cast the tarts, and I don't see how you're going to get the tarts without death.
Well, no, so hang on and bring the growth down to 2. Our growth was only 2 before. We're going to keep it at 2. No growth.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
And the scales. Yeah.
Okay.
Just so we know what our budget is. No, we can do tarts. The Marshmasters will get death 3 randoms. The Pretender is going to make a ring of sorcery. We can make a skull staff. That gets us a death 5. We can now do liches. Liches start at death 4. You give them a death hat, death staff, ring of sorcery, death 7. There you go, tarts. Right?
Yeah.
So that was our plan originally. Now that's 94. So I think with this guy now, we just fill in the rest for magic diversity and something that happens to be good maybe for the shamans, right? It's like the only sacreds here are the shamans, right? And tarts. So can we do, like, what if you did what are paths we don't really have? Fire, air, earth, blood.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could just go and have him be like a searching, where he goes searching.
Yeah, you never do. I mean, you might as well do indies, right? Like, that's pretty bad. But you want you have to take a lot of time. I would maybe think a lot about like the magic boosting things that I can't do with tarts, right? And see if I need to do something specific there. In terms of like bless things that I would add to this, if I did get to like water 4, you could take cold resistance because that's a huge liability, right? But we have water really in the nation, so maybe it's not as needed. You know,
could go blood and try to like break yourself into blood, and with your scales and your your dominion.
Tarts will get us into blood, right? Okay. There are tarts with blood, right?
But this would be earlier because I mean I don't see tarts coming out until 50 or 60.
Yeah, but you're not going to spend a lot of time blood searching with your pretender, right? He's going to be busy.
I mean, yeah, it all depends. I've done it before, and I've done like it's weird because I go. I mean, I've done the site searching before with the pretender as well.
Mm-hmm. So I think site searching with like a rainbow pretender. I find you have other things to do all the time. Now we've been tunnel visioning into like doing tarts, right?
Yeah.
You totally don't have to do that. You could first of all just do tarts with gift of nature, which is totally legitimate.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, then you make a lot of Gale points back by not going nature 5. You can do real Gales like that, or just to show that Sphinx, Monolith, Titan, whatever.
What I like about this recuperation too is it can get rid of disease, correct?
It doesn't cure disease, but it cures afflictions.
Okay, so it doesn't get rid of diseases because one of the problems, and kind of segueing into this, is that your independent mages are going to get diseased, correct?
Unless they're sacred.
Okay, unless they're sacred. So sacred are safe from disease as well.
Yeah, a lot of indies are sacred, but not all, right? Like if you got like some nice Amazon garnets, so you'd have to. Yeah, that is going to be an issue.
So you expanded with these elite warriors, is that correct?
Uh-huh. Yep.
And then would you have done it again?
Yes, absolutely. like I said, you could do a build with the actual sacreds, right? I mean, you have size 4 sacreds. Those
Yeah,
are
they're
the
not
size.
bad.
These
It's like 4 more gold, and you get to attach a bless to them.
Well, no, they're 21 resources. Like, you need to take huge productivity skills to recruit these guys, right?
Okay, so that's the downside is you'd have to you'd have to do the productivity scales, but you could spam these guys in other forts, and then put a decent bless on. I mean, I could see a bless working. I think you're right. I think the scales are better.
So look, you're right. Like, they're not terrible. Now, here's the thing: look at the sacred again, right? It's got a falchion. The falchion is probably the best traditional weapon in the game. Just the stats are good. So out of the gate, it's doing like 19 damage. That's really nice.
Yeah.
But the other guy has 2 attacks per square. That's doing 20 and 13. So, like, you got to take a hell of a bless to make the sacreds more killy than the elite warriors.
And what's interesting is with a 12 attack length 3 weapon, I mean, you're gonna get at least some repels out of it.
For expansion, yeah, on indies for sure.
That's kind of cool in itself.
Yeah. I think if you were going to go now, morale 9, but they're slaves, so it's very easy.
6 upkeep per
so
year.
Cheap, right? Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think that these guys are. Yeah, even these guys, your sacreds that are
they're still more expensive.
Yeah,
despite the sacred. Yeah. Now the big Sobex at the end, I think you could have more fun with them as a taking a plus, because now we got size 4, 37 hit points, 21 prot, right? They got a big chunky length 4 halberd with the bite. Like, that's a fun unit, maybe to build a bless around, right? Decent MR.
Yeah, that's this. But even then, I think that I'd rather have 3 of these guys.
But it's limited recruitment.
One of these,
right? So you get both, presumably, because these guys have limited recruitment. You can't get that many.
Wait, how many can you get? Is this the 1 per turn?
I'm not sure how many. I never even tested it, so I don't even know. But the problem with all these sacreds is they have 7 and 8 encumbrance, and they're cold-blooded. So, like, even in the heat, they're going to pass out. But, like, in the cold, forget it. Whereas the elite warrior is 5 encumbrances, no problem, right? So they're super susceptible later on to, like, anything with a chill aura or whatever, right? It's just
nuts.
Yeah.
So
you have to make it work.
Play is definitely there for this. Now, for mages, are there? You said the Empoisoners. We got to see them in action, which was really, really cool.
They're fantastic.
The Marshmasters we talked about with their past quite a bit.
Well, I should point out the Marshmasters. Yeah, the other thing about the Marshmasters, by the way, is you can. They're just great mages. They scale spam well. They can go into communions. Obviously, Foul Vapors. Everybody knows Foul Vapors with Satis is going to be a strong play. Scale spam. You can also Twiceborn them. And then they're a very nice little mini thug chassis, right? Because they're going to have death, so you can do Soul Vortex and Vulnerability. You could do regen or bark skin or whatever with nature, quickness, breath of winter, like depending on, what's happening. If it's an astral, maybe he's doing astral, shield body, ethereal. So you can have a really effective mini raiding thug chassis for like 10 death gems.
Yeah, what's interesting with the astral too, you can if you put a helmet on him, you could possibly even just send him in there and do magic phase attacks.
No, he needs Astral 3 to teleport.
Oh, teleports Astral 3. That's right. I'm thinking there too.
So they're not magic phase. Yeah, they're not magic phase, but still, they'd be very solid, and they can raid underwater once you Twiceborn them.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Now swimming doesn't allow you to go underwater; it just allows you to go over water. Correct?
Over rivers, yeah. Rivers don't really matter. So. That's a great mage, but I think the shaman is like where it's at, right? Obviously,
and everybody knows these because like they're the indies that my first game I got these and it was game changing.
But the Satis ones are cheaper. The indies are 130 gold. The national ones are only 90 gold.
That's
so
really
this
nice.
is just a great mage. I mean, I'm biased. I love communions and communion nations, but as far as communion mages go, this is a fantastic one. Absolutely fantastic. Great. Like nature astral is a fantastic cross path. You need to cast nature spells always. It synergizes like 90 gold for a 2-path sacred astral mage is an absolutely good deal.
Absolutely, yeah. I guess this is just a great chassis. In putting nature into a communion is, to me, in my opinion, nature into a communion is the best cross path that you can have.
I mean, Earth is, there are no bad choices, but yeah. It's
well,
it's
I like
good.
nature because you can get regen, or you can get regeneration on it fairly easy, and there's a whole bunch of just very good nature things that you can do to your communion.
Well, it's not just in the community. It's just that in the game, you need to cast big nature spells all the time, right?
Exactly.
You always need to do, mass regen, whatever, mass protection for a while, relief, right? You're going to have to cast these spells in the late game on any nation. So the fact that you just get it on your basic mage is really cool. And there's a nice little synergy of like, hey, I'm taking penetration on my bless because why not? Well, that's not just good for Astral and Soul Slave, but it's also good for Nature and Charm, right?
Yes,
which
exactly.
is superior to Enslave, right? So we think of Astral Communions as like, oh, Enslave mine, but for Satis, they're going to cast Charm, not Enslave, right? It's a better spell in every way. So, they're just great mages. So I look forward to using them. I took Magic 2 in the scales for obviously it makes, because I'm going to recruit a lot of these guys. Magic scales for research are better when you have small cheap mages. If you have expensive mages, then that makes it, drain scales are never good for research, but it makes it not as bad to take drain. However,
it's taking a smaller part of a larger pool.
Yeah, exactly. And but Magic 2 scales increases penetration by 1 in your dominion, like where you have magic scales, right? As opposed to drain. And as an Astral Nature Communion nation, I want to have low MR on things that I'm fighting, right? So that I penetrate more and get more spells off.
Now, is there anything else that's really of note other than, quirky little things? Are there any other mages that we'll see like a lot of?
Well, we get, you highlighted over one real quick, which is a nice little thing that people might not realize. This Holy 2 priest has an ability. You put him in a fort with a temple, and every turn he'll poop out a little snake, which is sacred, and has a standard, which increases morale. So one of the problems with Satis' troops overall is that they have bad morale, but that can easily be fixed. So we have these serpents that boost morale to the squad they're in. They don't appear there, but I had them in the tournament. They're standard bearer. And then in addition, we have the Recruit Anywhere Holy 3 Lizard King. He's slow to recruit, but if you just click on an army, if you do T.
Oh, that's right there, right? Oh, wait,
no, that's my prophet. Just look at the army. Just look at the army.
Okay. Oh, we're in the read the messages?
No, just T. Like open up as if you're gonna arrange the army.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Find them. Yeah. See, I've got one in every squad. See the little snakes there?
Oh, I thought you were talking about these dudes right here. Okay.
There. That was.
So these are the guys that you're recruiting.
Well, you get them. Those guys. You get one of them per turn in a temple with that Holy 2 priest, right? And as you can see, they have a nice pile of hit points, and then they just buff the morale of the squad that they're in.
And my favorite thing about this is that they're either the same speed or slower than all the other troops, which seems to be a problem with a lot of standard bearers.
That they go too fast and they just run in and die.
They lead the charge.
Yep. Exactly. So that's very good. And then you have the Holy 3 Lizard Kings, which you have there, have 120 base leadership. So the morale on, if you look at the elite warriors in that squad, right? The morale they have here, just right click on one.
That's
15
amazing.
morale.
Yeah, 15 morale.
He started at 9. Yeah, look at the boost, right? So obviously he has a bit of experience and he's in friendly dominion. That's 2. And home province. All right, so we're cheating a bit. But still, we have
15, give or take 3 is nice.
We have like a lot of bonuses, and you can craft the helmet eventually that increases morale because they're slaves, right? So there's like a whip of command, which
Yeah,
is
I
a
think
nature
you're
item
right.
that you can craft.
I can't see here, but yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
really
we don't have
interesting,
access to
dude.
that.
And what's fun is that I'm going to be able to see you in the next, hopefully, you're going to be able to push back from this, and in about 10 or 12 turns, I'll be able to see some of this, mid-game action that you're talking about. I'd love to see, some Skella spam, foul
Yeah.
vapors if you get into that.
I don't know. So I have to get more information. Like, I don't know how much of Airmore I'll be able to take, and we'll see where I end up after that. But I don't know where I go next, because Satis can go kind of underwater. But like I said, with the Marshmasters, it's pretty easy, especially if you twice-born them. But in terms of getting siege strength underwater, like, I need maybe construction 6 to get the water goblet to bring some troops underwater. Because
Yes.
I could go after Fascia, but how do I get my army on his cap to siege it down, right?
That's a really good question.
So that's like a challenge. And then Relay obviously is like the same kind of issue, right?
Yeah.
But nobody, like, attacking Relay is pretty cancerous. But I'm Satis, so nobody's going to want to attack me again, right? Because of Dominion, and I have my own assassins, so that's really nice, right? I don't know after Airmore, it'll kind of depend who ends up gobbling a lot. There's Asphodel in the game, so people are probably going to want to kill him. My border is going to be a little funky with him, though, right?
I think that
Maybe
Asphodel is over here.
Yeah, he's north of Airmore. So
I mean, you could fight over the scraps of Pangea. You could push into Naba, and you can hit
it's a
this
small
area
map,
over
right?
here,
Your neighbors
which-
with everybody. It's going to be tricky.
Whose territory
So-
is this?
That is, well, who else is in the game? Let's see.
Miquelin. I think he
Miquelin.
took
That's
Miquelin's
Miquelin. That's
territory.
Grippa playing Miquelin. Yeah.
Huh.
So, yeah, I'll have to see. It depends to me. Like, if I get Airmore itself, that's a nice source of death gems. I could see myself turtling after that and just going research.
And I've seen an MA Satis do that successfully, where they just turtle until turn 40-something, where they've got this pile of research mages that just explode out with Tartarians. Normally, I don't like the SimCity style, but I think that you might be onto something here with Satis.
I mean, the thing is, there are powers. It depends. It depends on people's blesses, right? Can I make Foul Vapors and Skella Spam work, right? In other words, what happens when I get Enchantment 5? Is there somebody who just dies when I have Enchantment 5, right?
Yes.
If that's the case, and the problem is 2 of my directions are blocked by underwater, so
Yes,
I can't
I agree
go
with that.
there. So what does the border look like? Because now Abyssia is kind of blocking me off to the north. Now maybe I negotiate with him and it's like, trade some provinces, or we jointly go after Fascia. But again, like, I can't just attack Fascia. I mean, honestly, what I could do is fort up that. You see how I have those 2 forts now on close to the lake with Fascia, right? I've got the one in the hill. I got that one. If I went to war with him, took the fort that he has on the coast, I can also reasonably fort up the province between those 2. It's not a terrible province, right? That one.
Yeah.
Where your cursor is. I could fort that up, and then it's like I can go to war with Fascia, like take that stuff, maybe take Pangea a bit, take his underwater provinces with Marshmasters. Then what's he going to do? Sail across onto a fort filled with assassins? Like,
Yeah.
Right,
That's not
like-
a bad idea, and come down here and just take all his underwater provinces. That's a really nice, and he hasn't gone
I don't know.
underwater. I'm glad to see this, because I haven't been able to see anything of his. Like, I haven't seen anything past.
I mean, to
when
be
he
fair, he
bombed
got Pangea really early, right? So
Yeah,
he's
that's
doing
all I saw.
just fine.
Like, what you're telling me is all that I've seen of him, and I was telling him during it, make sure you finish expansion, and I don't, looking at this, he did get at least this part here. So I assume he got the rest of this coast, I hope. But yeah, I mean, he all in on Pan, dude.
I think it's fine. You can sacrifice expansion if you get a capital early. That's great. The province where he has his fort, I actually, if I remember correctly, at the end of my expansion, I had a small army left, and I tried to take that province, and I failed. I killed a lot of stuff, but failed.
Geez.
And then he took it like the turn after. But it was like I tried, like it. I didn't. It was like a 50-50 or maybe, and it didn't quite work out.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know. It's tricky, especially with like Relay and these other nations that are just hard to attack, hard to deal with. And actually, how many thrones is it to win in this game?
I think it's 5.
Probably, right? You could do thrones. 11. No, it's 6. Oh, but you have a size 3.
Yeah, it's 5 if you got the 3.
Yeah. Because 5 thrones, and they're all land thrones. So 5 thrones in a game like this is not too bad. Or 6 is a bit more, but 6 is kind of like you kill one player, and then if you push out hard enough with your borders, you can get 6, right? Because it's a grid pattern.
Yes, exactly.
So, maybe it doesn't need to be... Maybe I don't need to ever conquer Relay, right? It's kind of what I'm getting at. We'll see. I don't know.
It'll be interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing you I'm pretty sure that you'll hold out against this. It looks like you're on the pushing end of things now, so...
Yeah, now I gotta try to get as much out of this war as possible. And we'll see if we can make that happen. And then I'll have to make some big decisions later on. Hopefully just the yuckiness of attacking into Satis will keep me safe for a while. And then we'll be ready to face the next threat. Also, I got that fort in the southwest has Cynocephalian mages.
Oh, which one? Oh, nice.
Yeah, that one. So you can click on them real quick. So I need a temple. Yeah. So that gives me possible astral air.
Okay.
Right? Which is amazing because that's fog warriors, mass flight, all those spells.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna let you go at this point. We will come back to this at a later time, and thank you so much for taking the time to give me an overview. And that was an amazing battle. So thank you so much, dude.
Yeah, absolutely, it was a pleasure. I'm glad I got to share it, and I'm glad the viewers got to see kind of what happened from my perspective. Presumably, you'll get Novelle's perspective on this, and I'm sure he's not super happy about it. But yeah, I'm happy that worked out. It was a bit of a risk. I'm glad it worked out, and hopefully I can turn it into something for later.
Okay, well then I'll see you later. Thank you again, and I'll see you viewers in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye.